macro, capabilities to film cinematic videos, low light, along with some cool features and selfie camera comparison, of course. This is my biggest phone camera comparison test to date, and since I started posting my videos about a year ago, so let's start this year getting closer to 100,000 subscribers. And to be honest with you, I've never tried Xiaomi phones before, so this is a completely new experience for me. Let's begin. It's about the same. I want to say that the S24 Ultra gives a little bit over-sharpened look, like digital sharpness, if you know what I mean. As you know, S24 Ultra has this anti-reflective screen, and right now, as we have this sunny weather, it really helps a lot. One thing that I like on the 14 Ultra is that the HDR switch is right here, so I can enable or disable HDR, and also the Leica Authentic and Leica Vibrant switches is here. And here's the difference between them. I would say that Leica Vibrant adds a little bit of vibrancy and saturation to the midtones. That's how I feel it. You see the wooden handle on this knife has a little bit more to it, like orange feels a little bit rich. So if you want to have that richness in colors, you use Leica Vibrant. If you want more neutral, more close to life, I would say, then Leica Authentic. So that's what I will be using today. And if we go into different settings here, we have quite a few actually over here. So one that really draws my attention is auto aperture. You see this phone has adjustable aperture, so I can actually switch between auto and let the phone decide for me. In this kind of weather, it's acceptable, to be honest. But if you want to have brighter photo and you know you will be taking photos in low light, in that case, for sure, you will be using f1.6 because this is the maximum opening amount and it will let more light onto the sensor. But for now, I will use the auto. What's cool is that you can actually see as I'm switching between different aperture amounts, you can see how the aperture opens or closes. So that's really cool. And let's take side-by-side photo. Now, one thing I want to say is that the S24 Ultra definitely feels bulkier in hand. It has bigger screen, obviously, but also the overall shape, the squarish shape, is less comfortable to hold. Now let's do the 3x lens. And now let's do the 5x telephoto. Xiaomi gives more natural results with richer contrast, whereas the S24 Ultra has this HDR look to it. And main camera, I would prefer on the 14 Ultra. Have a look. You see the Samsung has this HDR and just lifted all the shadows here, but this one looks really natural and the contrast is so rich. We have yet to test other modes, so let's keep moving. To say I was surprised with the photo quality from Xiaomi in auto mode would be an understatement. This Leica processing definitely makes some photos look like they were taken on a pro camera. And only in comparison side by side, I see that the S24 Ultra has this wild green tint to its photos. Maybe for the untrained eye it's not so obvious, but for me the difference is massive. And hopefully I can teach you what to look for when deciding which camera is better. Just look at the concrete color here. It was nowhere near to what the S24 Ultra shows. I mean, it's too green, but maybe it's just me. See what other people say in the comments. And now let's compare the super wide angle lenses. Quite high dynamic range over here. And I'm just using automatic exposure. I'm just pressing at the brightest part of the frame. And let's see. S24 Ultra seems to have this green hue to the shadows, while 14 Ultra looks more natural. You let me know which one you prefer. I think in terms of colors, 14 Ultra looks more natural. In terms of sharpness, it's really hard to tell. Both are good. You know, throughout this video, I took hundreds of photos on both phones. My favorite is this black and white, and it works so good with Xiaomi depth effect, as well as when the phone goes into the always display mode. And I had some people DM me for photo samples from the phone, so I decided to share for free these beautiful photos that you can use as wallpapers. Even though all of these photos were taken on Xiaomi 14 Ultra, they still look amazing even on iPhone 15 Pro Max or Samsung S24 Ultra. I set mine to change the wallpaper every time I touch the screen on iPhone, and on the S24 Ultra every time I unlock it. So if you want to make your phone look more cinematic, then make sure to download your free wallpaper pack. I will drop the link for you in the description, and this way you can appreciate the image quality in full glory. Okay, so we have other modes to test, but first, alright, so now it's selfie camera test time. There is an option to turn on 1x camera or ultra wide on Xiaomi, and the same thing goes for the S24 Ultra. So let's do the widest shot on both of the phones. I feel like maybe in terms of colors, Xiaomi looks more natural, but not so bright, whereas the Samsung S24 Ultra has more of a HDR feel to the image and has more highlights pop in the photo. So you let me know which one you prefer in the comments. And on the Xiaomi, we have 4K, 720, and 1080 resolution. I will keep the maximum 4K. And on S24 Ultra, I feel like the interface for the resolution implemented a little bit in more user-friendly way, because once you press over here, you can have a look at all the resolutions and frame rates, which is really nice. So I will set up Ultra HD 30 FPS. Okay, so this is the video quality on the selfie camera and audio quality on the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, and this is the audio quality and video quality on the Samsung S24 Ultra. We have a little bit loud environment from the roads, so you let me know if you hear me loud and clear. Xiaomi looks a little bit warmer in tone, that I like more, and the Samsung looks more cool. But Samsung filming, let's say myself, but then there is something cool happening over there on the horizon, like there is a bird, you see? And I can do that on the Samsung very easily. I can even go into the zoom mode and film the swan or a train. Look how cool it is. On Xiaomi, there is no such option. And then I can go back into the selfie mode on the Samsung. This is really cool, and I think it's just software related difference here. And this is something Xiaomi can also add to their phones in the future for sure, and they should.
Alright, as you see, both phones have their special features that make each excel in different scenario. And there's one game-changing feature on the 14 Ultra that I really love using. Let's talk about macro capabilities. You see, I love macro photography, but the problem with the most phones is that the macro mode there is dedicated to the ultra-wide-angle camera only, which isn't macro really. It just lets you to focus closer to the subject, and that distorts the subject proportions a lot. While real macro is supposed to have 1:1 ratio, meaning that flowers or bugs retain their proportions and appear as they are in real life, but zoomed in. And this is exactly what the 3.2 lens can do on the 14 Ultra. It's basically a long-range macro lens that can be used either for portraits or for capturing small objects up close. But there is more. There's also an adjustment button for increasing the depth of field to keep more of the subjects in focus. So while the 3x tele-lens on S24 Ultra can also focus relatively close to the subject, but it's nowhere near if we talk about the sharpness and image quality. So if you are about macro photography, keep that in mind. Now we're getting really close to the video comparison, but first let's rig the phones a little more. Incoming photography kit.
So let's try it, and what you do is you slide in the camera over here and then lock it in place like so. Camera grip, all the information is here. It says phone is at 82%, the grip is at 98%. And you can go into settings and adjust the camera interface here, and you can assign certain functions to different buttons over here. So it's practically like a camera, and hopefully the phone is not going to fall off. There's no really wobble here. There's like a tiny lock. It has built-in power bank. It's about like 1/5 of the battery capacity of the phone. So I hope we will not drain this handle too much. I can actually use this rocker over here as the zoom. Do you see this? It works in auto mode. That's crazy. It's like I'm using a camera from, I don't know, 2010. Maybe I would like it to zoom in and out a little bit faster than this, or if I could assign like, double touch to the zoom rocker, and then it zooms in quickly, so it could be really useful for some dramatic effects. Even without it, it's pretty fun to use. If I was a boomer, if I was like 60 years old, that would make me so happy. Actually, it already does make me happy, so maybe I'm 60. Hello? Is this raw photo? Am I talking to log video? I'm definitely 60 years old. By the way, I wonder how it works for calls. Like, do I have to remove the phone to call someone because there is no microphone cutouts here?
Now, if I had to choose just one main feature on the 14 Ultra, then hands down it would be an adjustable aperture. Let me explain what it does to the image.
Right now I'm having overexposed image, and I can either compensate this overexposure with the shutter speed or with the aperture, and I would prefer to do it with the aperture in this case. So I only have to do is just